the um, this is not the first time that Runa has used the gateway rune to check in on her mother. Um, the sensation that you felt before when doing it is no less different. There's a sense of like almost um, going upside down for a moment. It's like this sort of stomach turning uh, spin that's like as much inside out as upside down and backwards and forwards. It's disorienting. And then once again, you're in a place where you can see your mother. But there are a few changes since last time. The Revenge is here, the ship, and she is standing within it. Your mother, by your own admission, was never much of a sailor. But you can see that like she's almost sort of learning on the go, because she's got like the mainsail rigged, and she's doing the navigation. The But everything that is sort of around gives a lot more context for like where you are now. The water is still completely glass-like, and it's solid silver, so much to the point that it almost looks like the surface of a mirror. Um, and at the same time that you have that sort of like silvery reflection over the top of it, it's crystalline to the point where it seems like you can see straight down forever. You see the reflection of like the sun and the moon in the sky, but they're overhead at the same time, but they're also reflected in the water at the same time. And there are stars from every season. You're used to the slow drift of them over the course of the year and kind of knowing what's going to come into view and what's not, and being able to use that to mark time. But as you're like looking up at the sky now, everything that you know um, is like it's all packed in at once. Does that make sense? The distance between all the stars is tighter. You are. It's not to say that you're in like another world, because this world is clearly like your own in so many ways, but there's something sort of contorted about it. Um, and uh, there's no wind that's like driving the Revenge forward. There's also no like ripple of motion to suggest that it's casting a wake behind it. But your mother sits on it, with ropes kind of wrapped around one arm and looking at the sky and the stars and the sun and the moon, and they're perfect reflections in the water. And then you see her eyes kind of lock onto you. Um, and you see like a momentary just like sort of spark of like hope and joy and love. Um, and you see she kind of unwinds her arm from the sail, and starts to sort of just like run across the bow of the Revenge, and she jumps over the side. You kind of almost expect her to splash into the water, but her feet land on the water and she simply runs towards it. And like she tries to wrap her arms around you. Does that make sense? And they go right through you.
Instinctively, Runa's gonna like open up her arms, even though she knows she's just looking in on her.
Yeah. And she kind of, you see, she kind of like stops and she puts her hand to her heart, and she's like, "Is it you? Are you there?"
Yes, Mama.
She says, "Then you're not here. That's good. You're alive.
You're not?
I don't know what I am."
I love you.
"I love you too." She says, "How are you seeing me?"
Gateway.
She says, "Then I am alive."
I'm glad.
She says, "I'm glad you are too." She says, "The last we saw you," she says, your mind was gone. There was no you there."
I don't remember much after my vision.
She's still kind of like, you notice that even as she stands in the water, whenever she stops moving, she starts to sink little by little, and she kind of keeps walking. It's like she's constantly circling around you. Does that make sense? To
Mhm.
stay in motion. And she kind of reaches her hand up, like wanting to touch your cheek, and it again just sort of like passes through your face.
Where are you?
She says, "You remember the old sailors' tales about the different seas?"
Yeah.
She says, we've sailed through the frothing seas, the trade seas. I've heard about distant seas like the mirror in Usura." She says, "This is the seventh sea." She says, the old sailors talk about a place where the sun and the moon are in the sky at the same time, and that it can connect to any other, and any other can come to it.
Wow.
I don't know how to get here. I don't know how to get out of here.
I found myself in Eisen.
Um, she kind of smiles and uh, she she looks like you. She has a look in her face like she wants to ask you like 1,000 questions, and she also knows Gateway is limited and that it gives like seconds, you know. But she kind of
Since this isn't combat, can I retroactively say added a raise?
oh, so technically this is still like measured in rounds. You know what I'm saying? So it would be, but I'm for cinematic purposes, I'm letting it extend. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So um she's like, "I can tell that you've grown stronger." She says that you need to eat something too. She says, "But I can tell that your spirit is stronger."
Yeah. I, as I said, I don't remember much before waking up here, but I was definitely a shell when I woke up.
She says, "If you found the rest of the crew?"
I've looked in on you. I've looked in on Gris. Um, I've looked in on Joran.
Um, she kind of, you see her face harden at that name, you know. She says, "He turned on us."
I
She
know.
says, "Don't trust him."
He's an Eisen, Mama. He won't be for long.
Um, she
And she
doesn't
has
argue
this
that.
look of, I'm going to deal with it.
Um, she says, "He cost us crew." She
He,
says, "He cost us family."
um, I forget which two tried to kill him, and
Hardlaw and Red, which were considered the two kind of like strongest warriors on the ship.
Hardlaw and Red went after him. They were alive until they did.
Um, her face falls, and you kind of see like tears fill her eyes.
Runa instinctively, because she's actually talking to her mom, she goes to reach out to hug her again.
And it's the same thing. You just kind of feel like you're touching the surface of water. You can see little ripples that spread out from like where you might have touched her, but you can't feel her touch.
I miss you,
Just as I miss you too.
but we can see each other like this.
Um, she nods. She says, "I don't know much about this place, but I know it's not the world we know." Um, she says, "Be careful when you look in here."
Okay.
Um, do you want to ask her anything about a sister, a cousin?
Yes.
I just wanted to give the prompt because I know it's been a week since we played, and I didn't know if that was still.
Do I have any other family? A sister, cousin, anything like
Sure.
that?
Her brow kind of knits. She says, "You have no living family. My village was burned down when I was a girl."
But maybe someone survived.
She says, "I lost my mother and father, my sister."
I saw someone here that looked a spitting image.
She says, "My sister and I shared a womb. When we were born, we had the same face."
I, she looked younger, right?
She looked like your age, and there were enough different, like, she does not look exactly like you.
Mhm.
Does that make sense? It's just close enough that she would have been mistaken for a sister herself. And
Well, we both look.
if your
Oh,
mother had a twin and that twin had a child of her own, it's a very good chance.
perhaps she had a child.
She died when I was 9.
Strange.
She says when the Vendel attacked. She kind of looks thoughtful. She says, I don't remember much of that night. I was carried away by Red. He was the one who told me."
Hmm, that's strange.
Um, then she kind of like starts to lean forward again, and you kind of see there's a space next to the ship that starts to sort of split open. You can almost watch as like it, you had seen a porte gate open inside of the shadow of the Wachtturm, or inside of the Wachtturm itself, like, and it looked sort of like a cut going down through space and then spreading in either direction. And it looks much the same, except there's no blood film that covers everything. Um, and you look up and you see the old man with the staff and the beard and the long hair, and then your vision ends.
Runa starts sobbing immediately.
And let's drop the curtain there. Give me just a second.
Ruth is gonna start crying. How dare you?
All right, so thank you everyone, and welcome to the Shadow of the Wachtturm, a 7th First Edition Let's Play set in the great lawless city of Freeburg. Our art is courtesy of Hero Forge, First Edition 7th, and Be Funky. Our producers, one of the moderators of Dirty 20 Gaming, the delightful and compassionate Gloriosa, and our lore master for the series is the beautiful and benevolent Sindra. Before we get started, I want to give a content warning. I'm a bastard. Also, while the spirit of 7th is swashbuckling adventure and shadowy intrigue, the story will deal with mature themes, including death, loss, suicide, and grief. Eisen, our setting, is recovering from a 30-year civil war over religious differences. It may get dark sometimes, and there's no shame in bowing out if it's not a place your head can go at the moment. So without further ado, I'm going to have our savvy swashbucklers introduce themselves, starting with my recently traumatized
You're up.
I didn't. I couldn't hear.
why you go.
Intro time.
I hate it
Good
here.
luck.
That's a lie. Oh. Ruth isn't okay. How dare you? No.
Do I need to
But
start with somebody else? Do you need a minute?
no, it's fine. I'm
Okay.
fine. I'll be fine. Genuinely, it's okay. I'm also my name Ruth. Not again.
We
I'm
found
also
you.
here. Was it you? Was it him?
Was it me or did what?
Anyway,
It was coffee. I didn't see anything.
I'm also here on Tuesdays as Exit, Thursdays as Desrai, and Sundays, which is today, as Runa.
That's probably better.
You just saw her. That's cool. I don't know who's already gone.
No,
Literally
you
just
were the
you.
first intro.
I started with you since you were in the cold because I'm a bastard.
That's really shady of you. You know I have to reset up. Kyle.
Hey, folks, it's me, Bat Kyle. You found me. So I am here on Sunday. I am also a bastard. And I've got the paperwork to prove it. Anyway, you can find me here on Sundays playing Len, dangerously attractive, but still, kind of stunned by that smooch from last game costing. You can find me on Thursdays for at least a couple more sessions playing everybody's favorite salty, angry, we're probably all going to die a horrible death, druid. Badges. I really should have just stayed in Ron McBadge's Newth. And you can't really find me anywhere else except on the Discord where I post all sorts of unhinged food memes and I'm generally a menace. Over to Rory.
I'm currently only here today on Sundays playing our fine, maybe tiny bit possessed soldier boy, Hans Ulricht. He's fun, as we've learned multiple times. He is all running. My what was it here? My 4 brawn apparently all went to the legs, all legs. Other than that, I try to stream occasionally. I've been sick with whatever nasty shit is going around right now. I'm still Christ, I'm still coughing a bunch, so I'm sorry if I happen to catch myself unmuted when I cough a ton. I promise it sounds worse than it is if anyone catches it, but I'm recovering enough to finally get back into it on hopefully this Wednesday with those decks back there.
Oh,
I finally got the tech set up. I can hook them into the PC, and the basement is going to be in full swing this Wednesday, which is very exciting. It's going to be a big, a long DJ set and some kind of like satirical talk show type stuff. I don't know if that sounds funny, then come hang out. Other than that, I will. Well, I try to be active in the Discord, but I sometimes forget I exist. So,
relatable.
ah, oh yeah, that's right. I forgot to do that.
You gotta plug yourself.
Yeah, I gotta
All the links.
gotta
Give
put
all
my
the
stuff.
links.
I just got
You
off
gotta
work,
get your
guys. Come on.
links ready.
There's a SoundCloud. That's okay. I'm just messing around. Yeah, I make music sometimes. I try to put up stuff that's not on other platforms on SoundCloud, just because distributors are a pain in the ass. Hopefully there's going to be more stuff coming soon. With that, how about Bison goes next?
That's me. Hello, I am Bison_Stonefist. Tonight I am playing Gav the Grin, our lovable dumbass, slash has a secret admirer. Maybe she can teach him how to read and some other things. Other than that, I am also I run the Tuesday night game Carnage Heights, it's Cyberpunk Red. We've gone from life on the street to life in the office, and things are still just as dangerous as ever. However, definitely go watch the last episode. It was really fun. It was all in a dream. And Thursdays I am in Sino. I don't care if I'm already dead. You know, fortune favors the bold. He is our Dragonborn Paladin Ranger, big damn hero. Currently an actual dead dragon, so you know, that's fun. And speaking of that, let's go to Sarah.
Hey y'all, my name is Sarah. You can find me here as Rosa. Wait, I have to do magic by kissing people? Oh God. Nyx. I am in the Tuesday game, Cyberpunk Red, Carnage Heights, as Magic, Broken Heart of the Team Silverlock. I am also the DM for the Fool's Gold campaign, Keem's Pirate, which is on hiatus for a couple of weeks while life sorts itself out. And then the campaign's basically over, y'all. But there are always things in the work. Other than that, you can always find me on Tango Productions working with the Scarred Adventurer on stuff and things that will come out eventually. And I'll get back to streaming at some point in my life. Yeah. I think that's... No. We have our great and wonderful producer for tonight, Gloriosa.
Sure, I was like, I put up a sign and everything. That's marquee, but
Oh, Glory, chat's not hearing you.
We appreciate the early warning on that. We lost a part of an episode before.
Oh, that was fun. I don't know. Ask chat.
whoa. It's almost like they're sisters or something.
I hear everyone
Looks like
else,
they still
just
can't
not
hear you.
Glory.
That should be better. Yeah, my soundboard is actually recognizing me now. So cool.
I love when Glory gets passionate about things.
When does that happen?
It just needs a little nudge.
Anyway,
We could have said that she was swearing like a sailor this whole time.
Really could have.
Full
Like,
class.
All right.
It was the protective like algorithm, just like this chick. Anyway, hi, I'm Glory.
17 F-bombs in 1 second.
I'm here. I'm only here tonight. I'm playing. Who am I playing? Honorine. Where's my house, dude? Where's my house? Cease du cease. Who is the noble woman who is just not fitting in? I don't know. Like, she's trying. She's trying her best. She's trying her best. Anyway, that's where we are. Chat would have been pissed if we missed out on a dozen F-bombs. Well, you did. I'm sorry.
So, a dozen or so.
A dozen.
Maybe it
or
was a
so.
baker's dozen.
Yeah. I threw
Did
in the
we-
extra 13th one because I like you guys. So
Did we get everybody
is
then?
Siosa, you have other days that you are here. So if you would go
Yes.
ahead.
I was going to mention that.
Okay.
I can no longer say that I am only here on Sundays, as I am now playing on the Zombies versus Pirates game on Friday as the automaton anchors away. So, and I'm still allergic to social media, so still the only place that you're going to find me is Discord. So join the Discord. You can find it in the links in the down below on the YouTubes, as well as on Twitch. So no excuse. Come say hi. All right. Let me just get back into that whole GMing brain.
I
That's
know
a
that
mood.
feeling.
It's also the like don't talk a mile a minute brain. So in the ancient days of Numa, the great storyteller and philosopher Ceres the Wiser once noted that an adventure can only begin in one of three ways: by death, by slur, or by letter. To begin without one of these incitements is folly, a tobacco best described as an indiscretion, a dalliance, an escapade. But fear not, we begin tonight properly girded, with preparations for the death, the most inescapable of the three, thus the most powerful. All right, so we are cutting actually over to Gav as he emerges from the darkness of the House of Stone with Ettore at his side. Having just made a deal with a man for some time to get prepared for action against the Frederick and Carmela Cross.
Is definitely most interesting way I've been arranged for beating someone up.
Ettore kind of raises an eyebrow. He says, I did not have the impression you intended to stop at beating someone up.
Death is too easy for these two. I want them to live with their mistake, to have to be among those they wronged, and see how much they like it. What happens after that, Nick sort of makes a shrug. Not my problem.
Says, what do you know of the man he asked you to take action against?
Remind the player, please.
Diedrich Tybalt. And he knows him by reputation as the slaver who runs the slaving ring in Freiburg.
I know him by reputation. I never worked for him. He's disgusting job. And that he's coming from Sewer Man.
Says that impression is widely shared amongst the Court of Blades.
Sometimes you can just smell the slime on the person.
Says, well, I can't say that he's the only person in the Court of Blades with a stench of slime on him. That runs across much of it. But I can say that there are a number of its members that would be happy to see him go, and others who are dependent on him for business. He is a polarizing figure.
Either way, no reason for slaves. His job is redundant. So he tries to say the word redundant like 3 or 4 different times. Is not needed.
He says, if you are going to go after him, there's somebody that you're going to have to deal with. He's protected by the captain of the guard.
Not Vasya.
No, the Finehearth guard, Adrian.
I've had tangle with him before.
Yeah, he is pretty widely known amongst those who live in the area for his corruption.
Yeah. You know, that's the guy you throw tomatoes at and run. You know.
Maybe if you're a kid, but even then, yeah. Like he's been known to throw kids in the jail.
Just gonna say, I don't think I really put it in. Yav's only 19.
Okay.
He doesn't look it, and that's part of the joke. But that's also something that's not really shared. But he still thinks kind of like a kid. Dealing with is difficult. He's captain. He is not respected. But
oh, he's feared though.
Varying degrees.
From those who fear catching a beating or disappearing into a river, he is feared.
He doesn't scare Gav. I mean, it's more of a he's a problem, not a threat. I think best if we do not deal with him, but delay. He wakes up in a few days without his pants and a few guilders light. He won't have time to deal with the dead slaver.
You might be hard pressed to that. I've not seen him without company, other guards, and Freeburg's guards are good at what they do.
This
And
is
Gav knows that to be true. Like if you catch one on your own, yeah, sure, it's probably
Yeah.
a fair fight between him and Gav, but they rarely travel that way, and they're not brute squad. They are,
they're actual trained soldiers.
yeah.
So first problem is Captain. And he's just like, murder is easy, but there's more problems. And Atori can tell that Gav's thinking.
Yeah.
And
And Ettore kind of pats his shoulder and says, "Welcome to the mix, my friend."
was so much easier when they say, "Here's Gilder, punch this man."
Kind of smiles. He says, "It's easier to push the carts than run the business."
And that's kind of how the conversation goes. Is I guess they head to wherever
Yep.
they're heading to from the inn. I will bring this to the rest of group. They're smarter than Gav.
He nods. He says, "You know where to find me if you need me. I'll be at the bookstore."
Stay safe.
You as well. Says, "Is Felix doing well?"
I haven't heard from him, but he is tough. He is child of street.
He nods. Just kind of disappears from the shadows after that. The man's a walking ninja. Which, given that he has like a purple silk shirt, he should not be so easy to lose in a crowd.
You would be surprised how easy it is to lose something purple. Like my fish I have a beta with a purple head. His head's purple, and he's a ninja.
He's the cutest beta. The cutest.
I love him
We
so
love
much.
him.
It's
All right.
easy to find someone with bright hair, especially like bright purple, when they're 6'3" and wearing demonias, huge platforms. So he just has to be tall enough.
And Atori probably isn't. He's somebody's hand.
Yeah. He's also not from he's not from here.
No.
The thing is like you guys are discovering that fully like 20% of Freeburg is not from here. So
Yeah.
even
Tons of
Avalon
people.
and Usurans, like they can find their own and disappear amongst them and stuff like that. So the as a nation, probably the rarest represented is Castilian. So all right. So I kind of want to cut back to Runa in the theater. I kind of assume that some people have come to find
Rosa's.
her. Okay. Oh, at Rosa's.
Because she slept over.
Okay. Yeah, we had a sleepover.
So is Honorine back at that sleepover? Last week we had kind of narrated her being out like hunting for a house. So
depends upon Honorine.
I'm letting her invite herself to the scene if that's okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, excuse me, I think she spent some time, like, sort of fruitlessly, like, trying to figure out where the fuck Gerard went. And, like, Gerard.
Right.
Um, and, like, also trying to be, like, there was supposed to be arrangements made. She also probably spent like half the day like furiously writing a letter to her aunt, like just blisteringly making aspersions on Girod's character, parentage, and general demeanor. Like,
Is she doing sort of like a cursory check and unable to find him, or is she actually looking into like where he's gone?
I don't know that she has the connections in the city to really look into where he's gone. And I don't know that she knows her compatriots well enough to know who to ask or whatever. So again, I think she's just my dearest aunt. The scoundrel that you sent ahead appears to have absconded with whatever funds that you have entrusted to him, and just generally being extremely upset.
1 star.
One of those
I want to
Amazon
see-
I am
reviews.
leaving an angry review of
Yelp
the Swordsman's
review.
Guild.
One of those Amazon reviews where if I could give 0 stars, I would.
So actually, that is the one thing, is that every swordsman is trained to check into a city that has a swordsman's guild when they arrive. So that would at least be a starting point. That if he came to Freiburg and because he's making his living as a swordsman, and she would be aware of that she could have at least checked in at the guild.
Do we want to go down that path now, or do we want to like come back around to that later? Because
She could have had that insight as she's on the way back and has her angry letter in hand. And come back on Rosa and Runa.
Yeah, just like she hasn't sent it yet, and probably a good thing she didn't, because honestly, he would probably want to challenge her to a duel or something. But anyway, yeah, she's on her way back, and she's coming back to she came back last night and stayed up half the night. I don't know what time is. It's a flat circle.
All right, so you are at least in the house, at least, as Runa is like breaking out into tears, and Rose is hearing it. It's a small place. Tav, the Usura neighbor, can probably hear it through the wall.
Sorry, Tav.
And Runa took the bed too, right? Like,
If you came in and you would be like, girl, this is my bed, she would have slept on the floor.
oh,
Yeah, either but Rosa and Runa were sharing the bed.
Or she would have was that the situation already?
I think that's what we decided before.
no,
Like,
Oh,
after session.
I think I was making jokes about
well,
like if Honorine comes home.
originally took the bed, like, and Rosa was like, "Oh yeah, I'll stay on the couch or whatever." And
Rollies to see who wakes up in the bed.
No, I was actually rolling to see how many people I thought the bed could reasonably fit, and I was going to divide it by 3, and then I rolled a 3. So like Rosa and Runa are cramped in it. It's definitely not holding a third person.
yeah, well, and Honorine doesn't know them that well yet, so
Yeah.
Although honestly, growing up in like a noble house, like, it's my understanding that at the time, like, there were people that would like, snuggle up together because it was warmer that way. So she probably
They physically have to cuddle to stay on this bed together.
Yeah.
I know.
It's
There's
a single.
spooning going on.
Runa just like has Rosa like wrapped.
Yes.
Rosa's the little spoon.
Oh, absolutely.
Yes.
She's smaller than Runa.
Rosa's absolutely the little spoon.
So okay, so after her day of being just absolutely livid, Honorine comes back, and it's like late in the evening, and she sees that there are people in the bed that she's supposed to be using, and they are cuddling.
But also, Runa probably looks a bit like a train wreck of crying. So,
Well, she
don't know if
didn't
that
look in
affects
on
her
her
at all.
mother when she was asleep.
I think Honorine may do like in like a chair, or like she fell asleep over her angry letter. She's like head down. She's got like ink.
Falling asleep at the desk.
She's totally
Yes.
got a smear of ink on her cheek. So
The word reprobate is in reverse on her cheek.
That's
Have
so
her nap
good.
backwards.
Yeah.
That's so good.
So she hears the commotion. How does Runa wake up?
Now that
Well,
we decided
she'd
that.
have to be. Wouldn't she have to be awake to invoke the rune? So she probably did in the morning.
Yeah, yeah, so she's probably waking up to the sound of it in the morning.
Yeah. Like Runa's like sobbing and hyperventilating.
Yeah, this is probably one of the very few times that Rosa would actually like hold you and just let you cry.
Oh,
Runa's
this is a big
bestie.
step for Rosa.
Oh yeah, Runa's bestie. Are you kidding me?
Hell yeah. She's trying to talk, but like she can't through like the grief and panic at the same time.
Breathe as best as you can. Breathe.
She's trying her best.
Does Rosa wear her mask to bed?
No.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure which portrait I was using.
She wears her mask to bed, but her mask also wears a mask. Like one of those sleeping masks.
She wears
And
a
it's
sleep
also a
mask with
fox.
fox.
She wears a little
sleep
mask
Little
with
fox
fox
eyes,
instead.
tiny ears.
little nose.
Wow,
love
y'all, the
this house
ADHD is
so
strong
much.
tonight.
Foxes. The ADHD in this group, it shows. You
I've
put
been
us
off
in a
meds for a
Zoom
week.
call together. We're there all day.
Yeah.
So the one thing that you do record kind of like as you're thinking back to like the moment is that you saw a flash of your mother's face as she caught sight of the man coming through the gate. And what you saw on her face was recognition.
Do you hear that?
Does that come out of Runa like that all or no?
She's trying. She's trying to talk. She still hasn't collected herself yet. But that's part of the things that she's trying to sputter out.
And honoring
Like portions of it she's speaking in Veston.
Honoring like raises her head, like kind of holding the crick in her neck, and looks over like, oh. Did you have a bad dream?
Runa can only manage to shake her head. Like to...
Did you see the man again? I don't know what
She
to ask
nods.
about that. Give me a second, I lost my accent. We should get back to the group. At least, maybe...
And
we can
she
figure out the
managed to
plan.
get out. She recognized him.
Who recognized him?
My mom.
Recognize the man?
She nods. She's still gathering herself.
What?
Runa see a man who created snakes. He
To
the
make a
man
long
hurt-
story short.
She's trying as best as she can. He the man
I can explain later.
man hurt Runa.
Here?
Even not in a same place. It's magic. See?
Runa nods. I'm actually. What should I roll to see how quickly I can compose myself?
There is no rule. That's your
Yeah.
choice about your character.
You know what? Yeah. Her breathing's starting to come back, but she has not stopped crying. Like her breath is definitely very shaky.
And when I say Honorine is ill-equipped to deal with this amount of emotion from
She's
somebody
just
else,
standing at like as far away as she can, just going.
she's
Okay.
she's kind of
Okay.
like,
Get used to it.
I'd rather not.
I mean, Vadachi does not have emotions and kind of like while holding Runa.
Really calmly explaining.
Are you hungry? I'm hungry. I'm
Would food help?
Maybe. She asks as a question. Just maybe.
So instead
Little?
of that, she's like frantically searching for some way to like make this stop. So she's like she finally finds like a cloth and she like tips like some water from like some cool water from like the wash basin on it and starts to just like, she tries to be nice about it, but really she's just sort of ends up just being like,
And as
Like
she
on
can
the
tell that I'm
tears.
actively making an individual uncomfortable, she collects herself faster.
she's just like practically slapping her face with the tears. Like, just
Stop!
No, she's trying really hard to be nice, and that's clear. But she's just like, I've seen people dry other people's tears, so she's just sort of like with the cool cloth, like
She's like, bah, bah, bah.
Honorine's a cat.
With secretly Italian hands.
Like
then
a plant king food slicer or whatever. Just
she's not sure that she's doing it right, so she like starts this way, and then she just like kind of like pauses to wring out the cloth a little bit, and then
Just
like
wiping Runa's skin.
just
wax
like
on,
trying really hard.
wax off.
I think that would manage to distract Runa enough
Rose is trying not to laugh so hard.
that she stopped crying, and she like laughs in such a confused manner.
She has the same look on her face as a cat seeing a mechanical water dish for the first time.
Honorine is a cat.
And she seems to have like managed to get Runa out of the headspace that she was in. So hey, are you guys departing for the playhouse after that?
Like, Runa's definitely not okay, but she's doing a lot better than she was in that moment.
All right.
She's been distracted enough.
Len is present as Hans has a roommate arriving. Which is Otto. As I just completely blanked on his name, even though we wrote it down.
Henry?
Henry, thank
Yes,
you.
Henry.
I wrote
Oh
her
my
down.
god, they were
and then-
roommates. Oh.
So Len and Hans are like fairly close to each other, like around a turn of the road, and probably know where each other live now, frequent it regularly. I'm curious if Hans has kind of let Len know about like the woman who's occasionally like maybe stalked him or spied on him or anything, just as like an extra pair of eyes or whatnot. But
He's kind of just forgotten about it, honestly. There's been so many other things. Like he was confused when he first when he went over to the house and like saw the big painting. He was like, what the fuck? There's been so much other stuff. It's kind of gone over. Put it on the back burner for the moment.
yeah, Gertrude is there as somebody arrives with the auto. One of the members of the camp, and Henry as well, but like Henry's also getting everybody over to the chapter house for the Rose and Cross. And you can tell that Gertrude's like empathy really runs deep as she sees Otto. Like it's obviously not the first of the wizened orphans that she's seen, but like there's a limited ability to provide help. Like she could turn every single place that she has into a home for them, but
It
doesn't
people to take care of them.
There'll still be more, right? And there's
Yeah.
sort of like she says, I'm going to speak to the monks, the Tobias monks. She says they do a lot of work taking care of people. They might have some recommendations, but I know that you're very busy and around town, but I can look in on him when you're not here. Make sure he gets food. And
I appreciate that, Gertrude. I truly do. I hope one day we can find a better way to help these poor folk.
She says, I think they were put here for us to find our compassion.
I've not thought about it like that before. That is it's a very kind of very like cheerful way of looking at it. It brings a nice light to the grim nature of the predicament. I will be doing the best I can to check in on him as often as possible as well. I hear he obviously won't make too much disturbance, and
of course not. Just this war that touched all of Eisen. She says it has brought us together in a way that nothing else ever has. She says, for we have all lost someone to it, and some people choose to live in hate. She says, I would prefer to see them find in their own pain a way to relate to others.
indeed.
She says that when they are good, strapping, well-formed men like yourselves. She says perhaps a little romance as well to bring light to the lives of others.
I knew it.
You never change, Gertrude. Never change. It never fails to brighten my day.
And she kind of like moves on tiptoe, fully gives you like a smooch on the cheek. It's like there's no like she's flirting with you energy, but she absolutely wants to find you, some girl to make babies with.
Total grandma energy.
Yeah, and she like looks straight over Len. She's like, "Did I tell you I met the most beautiful Usuran woman the other day?"
That is the very most beautiful Usuran woman you have met this week, Gertrude. I appreciate it, but this is not the time for love.
She kind of smiles and she says, "That is the thing about love. It always shows up when you are least expecting it is least convenient."
Well, I will tell you, Gertrude, that with you around, I am always expecting it.
She's kind
I
of
say
like,
this above.
"Mr. Len, you should not be flirting with me. I am your landlord." But she gives you a smooch on the cheek too.
The finger gun.
Right. Well, you gotta counter that raw animal magnetism somehow, and finger guns does it every time.
She says we are going to be having a small party later in the week, and you are both invited. There will be many eligible bachelorettes as well. She says, but we will have the unveiling of a new painting from Mr. Guy Orwell, who has dedicated it here to the house.
We'll
Sounds quite
see.
exciting.
Yes, it may be something I can schedule time for. I'm very
Yeah.
busy right now, but
Well, certainly, at least attempt to make an appearance of some sort.
Mm.
I'd love to see a new piece of artwork.
She says, if you have not seen some of his works, they are lovely.
okay. I must establish now, if I do show up, this is not going to be some sort of surprise bachelor auction. I've heard
She
about
says-
these things, and I will not be.
She says,
Which
if
one?
I were to do such a thing, it would be in the strictest interests of charity.
Mm. That is not a no, Gertrude, but
This is not a matter of charity. She says it is a matter of celebrating art.
okay.
Yes, I will make sure that we can at least make an appearance. It would be foolish of us to miss such a fun Sunday gathering.
And if you have some friends who would like to attend, I would like to make an effort of it. She says there is plenty in these days to darken our spirits. She says I would much prefer to see the opportunity to bring some light.
Indeed.
Then Runa can see if she has any houses for rent.
Gertrude,
She's looking for a new place.
She doesn't want to stay with Garrett Vic any longer. Because I think she's still staying with the Clockmaker, just working for Mac.
Yeah.
If Runa asks, Leonard Hans could say yeah, because Gertrude always got at least one place for rent.
She was planning on asking. She just doesn't know how she feels about staying in the merchant's quarter right now.
That's fair.
That's fair.
What about Honorine?
It does mean getting up very early for Runa to get to work. She's got to cross the hole.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, either way, then I think Len and Hans will stop for some baked goods and head to the playhouse, I'm assuming, once Otto's settled.
Yeah, set Otto up a little bit.
It's been very interesting for Len as like a bit more of an outsider than Hans is. Hans is like newer to the city, but he's also Eisen. To see, like, as you've both become sort of more familiar faces around the Draken Nest, like prices from local merchants have sort of steadily dropped a little bit. Does that make sense? They're no longer giving you the tourist prices. They're giving you the, like, you live here, you know, you got to get by.
Yep. We live here and try to, save the life of a well thought of cardinal discounts.
Yeah, there's a lot still going on with that. Like there's a lot of people that are kind of like it feels as though there's a bit of a schism going on in the Draken Nest between those who were regulars under Father Wiles, the one who's been here for a while, and those who have become really sort of devout fans of the Cardinal. And there's been you've heard of some like events of like Inquisitors getting beaten up.
Oh,
nice. Which is a big deal. Like, but there are a few kind of like gangs in the area that have taken to punching Inquisitors.
Good. We support this.
Gangs. And the local response for the most part from the Inquisitors has been to stop wearing their robes as openly, or to only do so when they're in a group.
Well, I think it's probably about time we go meet up with the others.
Yeah, so we're arriving at the Playhouse, the Badhausen.
Yep. Sure, with baked goods and maybe some fruit juice.
One of the performers is in I don't want to call it a furry outfit because it's mostly just sort of like some bear ears and like trimmings on an otherwise fairly revealing outfit that just sort of allude to a bear, looking terribly bear-like. That is doing the sort of the nightly hawking for people to come and see the show tonight.
Mhm.
Bare naked ladies.
Well done. I
Thank
gotta
you.
tell you, Len's not looking to, abuse the gifts, but there's a part of him who kind of wants to saunter through as a bear just every once in a blue moon to boost
Just gonna show up, boost the
visibility.
numbers.
But
When the
we'll
theater's
see
doing
how
a-
that goes.
doing worse.
But otherwise, yep, then we'll go up to the offices and put out the food and wait for everybody else.
Yeah. All right. So Gav is now living there, right? So
Pretty much.
but he was also out late, so probably everybody arriving around the same time.
So, how was everybody's night?
Eventful.
Runa's holding back tears.
Eventful.
Yeah, yeah. Just how does everybody's night? Gav's tired as hell. Runa's been crying. Honorine has ink on her face.
Gotta wait for.
And
Henri
she's
to
sitting further away from Runa.
get back. Yep. We have established that Runa may have family she did not know about.
Oh,
In
congratulations!
they're in the house of her worst enemy, or second worst
Oh,
enemy. Worst enemy
sweet.
is Snake Guy.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Oh,
Runa starts crying.
Um,
Len's gonna put out a little kalash and a little glass of juice and pat her on the shoulder. So sorry, but there's on current situation. We are still going to kill this man. He will die a terrible death, and then you can deal with potential family situation.
The situation got so much worse.
How? Even Len, unflappable Len, just like, how?
there's-
Ray, what did you do?
I was looking in on my mom. We were having a conversation. And we'll talk about the family thing later. It's a weird situation. But it ended with a portal opening and the man from my vision coming through it.
Oh, this is
My mom recognized him.
This is definitely worse. Yes.
Yeah.
And she starts crying a bit harder.
Then I'll give her a bear man hug.
Honoring
That's
is
what he's
across
got.
the room.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
He's
figured.
across the room,
looking-
like sipping on some tea or coffee or whatever hot beverage is available.
Do I need a rag?
Gav's
No,
like,
she quietly tips some like vodka in there.
and Gav's just like, no, I'm not sure I want to bring up my thing. I am very. It seems so unimportant now.
Runa like pulls herself together and just no, you should. Sorry.
It's
Gentle dams.
and he's like, you can see he's got like, he's been thinking about it. In order to kill the murderers, we have to kill the slaver guy. In order to kill the slaver guy, we need to beat up Captain of the Guard. Not allowed to kill him.
Well,
Gav is beyond the not killing part. Gav is at loss.
one good way to not kill him but take him out of the picture is to make him indisposed for a time and put him on a ship on a long voyage.
Excuse me, do you mean the captain of the guard of Freeburg?
No,
No.
of
No,
Fine
I
Hearth.
hope not. No, I'll find
Yes.
you.
not-
Sorry,
not,
he's
uh,
pointing down as if they're in Fine Hearth, but they're not.
Not
my
Hacia.
home district has
Oh,
corrupt bastard for captain of guard.
Mhm.
He is in league with Slaver. If Slaver has to die, then captain of guard needs to be dealt with.
I think we may need a little bit of help from Captain Wilhelm for that. He had gotten me to try and look into that and find some sort of tangible evidence to put him away. If we can even just get the two meeting and exchanging coin, that could be enough.
I know where they auction.
Oh, that is
That would be
She says it with like a deep sense of knowing.
oh.
Oh, I mean that would be the
sounds like there is more to sentence.
Probably not important right now.
Well, we are turning out to be surprisingly good at being sneaky. I think between all of us, we can, especially if we know where auction place is, we can find this evidence. Also, not to derail things, but Honorine, what is Etta Borper? He's gonna on the ink on her face.
Honorine, your face.
You have something.
She'll just take out a handkerchief and it doesn't matter.
You missed the spot.
Incidentally, I will need someone to come with me to the Swordsman's Guild, as I am likely to get lost on my own.
I will help.
Also, I would point out that Hans is a swordsman,
Mhm.
no member of the guild, in good standing. Just
Yes, I could also accompany if you'd like. I've been a few times at this point. I don't visit quite as often as I should, but
Well, I need to
That's
check
not-
in on this man that my aunt sent ahead. And she says man very derogatorily, like she
This man.
this
This fucking guy.
there's like a pause before man where she's like, you know, probably holding back a few other, and she just comes out with man that my aunt sent ahead. That
I love her.
supposedly was supposed to.
I see.
Okay.
So
Also,
I would greatly appreciate that whenever we're done with the beating.
I think
I will get my good pants. And he stands up and he goes downstairs to the change room in the back.
I think it just may be a situation of it is more like whenever we're done with the first beating, but we're in pretty deep now. But yeah, I can certainly accompany you to the guild. I mean, last I checked, that they still were somewhat of a fan. So
And Runa, talking of spying and such, did you want me to, you know, in my special way, look in on your patron, see if there's any evidence of him knowing who you are and working with the bastard?
If you wouldn't mind.
Who is your patron?
I think means the guy I'm working for.
The employer, sorry.
Generally that is what a patron is, although usually they patronize art.
This is Freiburg. Blacksmithing is art.
Yes.
sword
Are
is
you
much of an
getting
art piece
pants?
as any other.
Yeah, you're getting pants.
You're not here!
He sticks his head out from the hole.
Pops up from the floor.
Bear hole!
He makes a new one with
Thank
head.
you.
Gav makes new one with head.
It's not a bare window.
Veronica from below is like, "Where are your pants?"
It's a full moon tonight!
This is not that kind of show, sir.
That's for later.
It's kind of like a mistletoe. You kiss under it and you're fine.
No, we got no.
Yes, the known festival of the dangly bits. It is Freeburg tradition.
It's the twig and berries.
Twig and
Just like
berries.
the one
yes.
in Castile where we take the stick and we get candy. Uh,
Ah,
Oh no!
Frozen. All right.
Honorine is
So
just
moving
like
on.
normally they would patronize artists, and she's like kind of looking at Runa, and then she's like looking around. She's like, "What do you all do? Who are you?
A minute.
Who are you people?"
Who
Like
are
she doesn't
you?
say it like that, but like she's just like, I just realized that I have no idea what you all do.
well, I think much of our income together comes from the Playhouse. I also do some muscle work and on 2 occasions posing for pictures.
What kind of pictures?
We'll talk about that later.
Interesting.
I could see how somebody would want to paint you, honestly.
Well, thank you.
Most of
That's-
us do the kind of beat 'em up work.
Anything I do with the group, and I am an apprentice blacksmith.
Gav comes. I catch rats.
I love him.
and beats people up for money.
I,
Out
I
of
hold down
mercenary
2
background.
jobs.
Yeah.
It's hard economy.
You
It's
gotta
like-
hustle.
Yeah.
And Rosa, I know you. What do you do besides the thing? I know you've got the.
She's
the
about
pricing
to
going on.
talk.
Oh, she didn't
Runa
look like she
does
was
say
gonna
that.
talk.
Actually, Runa says she's about to tell us.
I read fortunes for anyone who pays me.
Sent the cards and all.
See,
And Honorine, what do you do?
Well, up until a month ago, I get married. But now I'm a little bit at loose ends, which is why I would like to find
Now you look for a house.
yes.
Well, if you
So
need
you
to
are
find
homeless.
husband, we know Gertrude. Gertrude finds many husbands, or tries to find many husbands.
Yeah, Gertrude the matchmaker.
No, thank you.
Okay.
Are you sure? Gertrude is very good. She finds match.
I have no doubt. However, that would be presuming on too much. We have someone in the family who takes care of that, but I need
Must
to.
not be very good if you are here.
Family Gertrude.
We're not going to talk about my match and how it's no longer a match. Whatever the case, I'm here on family business to learn more about the city and also to inhabit a house that, in theory, has been bought for me by Mr. Saint Germain, Monsieur Saint Germain. So, if we could.
Oh, Sherrod?
Fancy man.
Signore.
Yes, speaking of Gerard, he was procuring a property for you?
Yes.
Oh.
I mean, he sort of.
He talked about the lady that was coming into town that he was working for, and how he had to ask her if he could help us.
That's right.
We've not heard from him in some time.
He's been AWOL for a little bit, yeah. Away without
what?
leave. Sorry,
Oh.
I slipped into old habits. We haven't seen him around in
It is.
For a little while now.
Oh, I have an idea. Gav, you and Hans went to the library recently for deeds and such, yes?
Yeah.
I can look in on
indeed.
him.
So you could look in on him. Gav and Hans could go with you to the library to look into deeds under your name.
Honoring's just gonna like hold up her hands like, I would really like to check in with the Swordsman's Guild first.
What?
And then we can go from there.
They're really close to each other, aren't they?
Who?
I think,
You could hit both of them the same day, potentially.
yeah,
Yeah.
because the
Oh.
library's in Steinhalt,
Nice.
and I don't remember where the.
Could certainly do both in one day.
I know
Yes.
back way. It'll be easy.
Oh, you can.
I will find
no.
clean back way.
Team backdoor.
But I'm sure.
Oh, jeez.
I'm sure your presence at the Hall of Records would be appreciated again, Gav. Can I help him a little bit?
I am not sure what you mean. I am big and in
What-
the way.
We'll work on that.
How much does
We'll work
Hans
on that
just
another
look
time.
like? I can't wait to tell you something when Gav isn't here.
He
How
kinda,
much
like,
is
kinda
there
rolls
going
his
on up
eyes
there?
a little bit. What?
Hans has that I have tea face. Have I got the tea for you?
We'll figure that out in a minute, Gav. Don't you worry.
Regardless, I didn't mean to derail.
No, it's okay. This is.
Here we have,
We always have many irons in the fire.
yeah. This was
Isn't that her job? She's pointing at
But
Ruben.
Wait, I meant audio processing. Please
blacksmithing
repeat.
joke.
It's a blacksmithing joke.
Yeah.
Len
No, I
said we
didn't
always
hear
have-
what it was.
Len said there's a lot of irons in the fire, and Honorine.
Runa does laugh at that.
Honorine said, "Isn't that her job?"
Yeah. Len actually walks over to a pair of small symbols in the corner and is like,
All right.
Hilarious.
So, surprise, the party's splitting.
Are we splitting up? We are splitting up.
All right. So,
We would do it no
Honorine,
other way.
Hans, and Gav are heading off to do some paperwork chasing.
Yeah.
For those who are keeping track, the last time Gerard was seen was shortly after he tucked away the letter from.
How long ago was that? Like, has it been
Yeah.
weeks?
Yes.
Months?
Like the re-encrypted one,
Weeks?
essentially.
He went off with the letter to get an encrypted copy of it, and that was like the last you guys have seen him.
Oh, right.
yeah, oh yeah.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
I'm sure he's fine.
All right. What are Rosa, Runa, and Len doing?
Great question.
Yeah.
Len has.
Honorine will tell them, like, you're welcome to come with us if you'd like, but I don't think it will be very interesting.
Or do we just go to a bar and act sexy?
We could go thirst trap at the bar, but Len is just like my plans include the evening when I will be checking in on your employer, and then possibly scouting. What's his name?
Well,
And
if you
your
need
potential
someone
cousin.
who looks like they belong at an auction, let me know.
Apparently that was me.
Well, no, Honorine looks like she would be buying
a
at an
buyer.
auction.
Oh. Oh.
Not meaning send Runa back in there as a undercover.
Yeah, she's pretty recognizable.
Yeah, well, put these shackles back on. Your safe word is kumquat.
Uh,
In you go.
Not the hyena laugh. Oops, sorry guys.
All right, so you guys are kind of doing some preparation. Is Runa going to be like showing them where the area is and stuff like that in advance?
Yeah.
Okay.
Before we
Yes,
leave,
oh, and we will scout that.
when I was talking to my mom, I asked about any siblings or cousins or anything like that. She's had no other kids, and she had a twin, but her village burnt down and everyone died.
Did she say that she found and they identified the body? I know this is an insensitive question, but there is a difference between the whole village was burned down and I saw my sister's dead body.
See,
Um,
if they do not have
she
a body,
she got carried away.
might be alive.
She got carried away.
Then yes, then it's entirely possible that
That
there
she
were some
might be
survivors.
alive.
Yep. Which makes killing that man and liberating this woman and girl all that much more important, even though it was already important.
My mom might be dead.
That is a thing I do not know how to help with, and I am terribly sorry.
Beg your pardon?
Wait,
Are
what?
you here?
I'd assumed I'd assumed the three of us had
Are
like.
we already gone?
All right, bye guys.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
figured this was like the three of their time.
okay, if we're already gone, that's fine. But I feel like Honorine like would have choked on her tea if that was like.
Just like,
I think my mom
huh?
might be dead.
It can be in the doorway on the way out.
She spit takes as she's turning.
Huh?
No, that's fine. She doesn't have to be. I'm sorry. I thought we were still here, and I was just.
That would be really funny though. What if Runa thinks everyone's gone, and then she just like
Honorine paused to like check in the mirror one last time.
yeah.
No, and I will say Rosa being like, oh yeah, if there's not a body, like
Yep.
it's very obvious they're dead. There's a little salt in there from her.
Jeez.
Some people have a tragic past. My God.
You will find that people in our line of work do not exactly come from happy households that never experienced strife.
I did not even come from my household.
That wasn't in person. That wasn't in character.
Oh, okay.
Well, now it was.
Now it is.
Because the whole scene just happened around it.
Lucky.
There's been
All
two
right.
really good
Anyway.
reactions.
Since the party can banter together forever, I'm gonna move us on.
Okay. Good call.
Well,
Yes.
Okay. So, let's pick up with Honorine, Hans, and Gav. So the first trip is to the Swordsman's Guild, which is it kind of like doubles as like a training area and stuff. There's quite a few like people looking to be accredited as swordsmen, which you can be like even as an apprentice. There are jobs for go intimidate somebody who's causing trouble, etc. Like the Hans, when you were here, you had to pass a kind of basic test of like, do you have enough attack and parry knack to like not die? It wasn't even required that you like have studied an actual swordsman school. Does that make sense? So long as you could prove that you had like the basic capability to equip yourself well. But there's also like a system wherein everybody who has studied at school and is like recognized as a journeyman or a master of it or an apprentice wears a pin representing that. So, you know, and like the person that you check in with, who is the head of the Swordsman's Guild, he's wearing 5.
Oh,
representing different schools and different degrees of mastery of them.
damn. Just like
Probably
sees the
a
pins, kind of
very
like
shiny hat.
raises his eyebrows a bit, like, ooh.
Yeah, he's an Eisen guy with a shaved head and like a scarred eyebrow, and you know, he at first sort of takes it like one way when he sees Hans and Gav, when he sees Honorine arriving, by virtue of probably her bearing, he assumes that she's the one to talk to, just because nobles sort of stand out. It comes with the perk.
She's got the ramrod straight spine. And she has folded her arm over Gav's arm, like as if he was like escorting her.
Left or right hand? Because his
not the
left-
funky one.
Okay, so he's right.
She
Okay.
doesn't want to touch the funky one, but she.
That's fair.
So like
That's what I wanted to
she
make
probably
sure.
started out on one side and was like walked around him and then like tucked herself against the other arm and like
Yeah.
I feel very safe.
Yeah, and he rises. You can tell somebody who's very used to dealing with nobles, particularly in the city.
Good morning. I am looking for one of your members.
He says, "Do you have a complaint to file?" He says, "Or are you looking for someone in particular to commission?"
I'm looking for someone that I know of that I haven't seen in a while. I'm wondering if
says-
you've heard from him.
Do you have a name?
Gerard Dupay.
He kind of, the Montaigne. Fancy hat. Kind of smiles. He says, "We get a lot of Eisen mercenaries in here. Fancy hats stand out."
Honoring's Montaigne accent notwithstanding. Yes.
He says he registered any requests for his commission to go to the House of Stone.
The House of Stone.
It's an inn. Innkeeper likes to tell scary stories. Scott Man and the
Oh, yes.
House of
Yes, I've-
Stone.
Passed by a few times.
The who?
It's a whole thing. The innkeeper has a bit where he apparently turns off the lights every night and tells a spooky story, and then everyone runs out screaming.
Oh, well, that sounds charming.
Apparently, I've never been myself, but
Thank
It
you.
is nice place, even in the dark.
Do we want to check there then?
yeah, I think it would be prudent to speak to the innkeeper.
I know where it is.
She's going to lean over to whisper to Hans very quietly, like, are we supposed to give him money for telling us that?
Well, of your pretty high status, I think that's kind of up to you.
I have no idea.
Don't need to. You could always just say, the house will pick up the tab. Whatever. I don't know. I don't know. not from as high a circles as you.
Because I'm picturing that Honorine had a very awkward encounter with, like, someone who was, like, a server or something, where, like, she was supposed to be tipping and had no idea. And, like, somehow figured out that people expect money, and she had no, like, she doesn't handle money.
She's just made of it.
Yeah, the person at the head of the chapter house is just kind of watching this like interaction back and forth.
Well, thank you for your time. I appreciate
It says, if there's any trouble with the commission, or you think a swordsman has run out on a commission without commissioning or without completing it, he says, please let me know.
I will be more than happy to do that, and I will keep you in mind for any future swordsman needs.
He gives a nod at that. And he looks to Hans, who is wearing a swordsman pin. He says, you can check the board too if you're looking for daily commissions.
Yes, that's right. They do have kind of an open swordsman's board for hire.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is like really kind of like standard stuff, like this person robbed me, please teach them a lesson, you know.
Rough them up.
Yeah, so like one of the core rules of the Swordsman's Guild is they're not allowed to challenge other swordsmen on a commission. Like if you get into a fight because they don't like each other, that's fine, but you can't take a commission on another swordsman.
Yeah,
No bounties.
yeah, no bounties. Can't mess with the guild.
It fucks up the whole business model. So.
Yeah.
In the guild, we all fam.
Not exactly. They're more like an association of people who figured out a way to get along without killing each other.
Family.
The vibe is
Yeah.
the vibe is very much like the the bar in the opening of Deadpool.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like there's just there is a bar on site, and like that's where the
Mhm.
majority of the people are over like the training and practice, and like, you know, like the ones who are training and practicing at this hour, that everybody, like the more experienced ones, are kind of like, it's way too early for that shit.
Leave,
Try
I need my
hard,
morning
you
beer
know?
first.
So,
All right.
I get that
Lovely.
reference now, Bison. I bought the game.
All right, so heading to the House of Stone, not going through the House of Records, although you might be able to find out if a house was actually acquired or rented.
You should.
What are we closer to, House of Stone
You
or
really
House
should.
of Records?
The House of Records.
Well, let's go to the House of Records.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, both Hans and Galver used to kind of like seeing this woman, hearing this woman come before seeing her. She's wearing impractically heeled shoes, likely because of her extreme shortness, on a very hard stone floor. And so there's a whole, she approaches, and Hans, there's no hiding the way she kind of like lights up at the sight of Gav. Like, oh, you've returned. Do you need more things indexed?
Honorine
Yes.
assumes that it's lighting up at the sight of her instead. So she's like, hello. Good morning.
Because Gav is like completely oblivious about like the whole dynamic here, I want Hans to make like the wits roll.
Okay.
Do good.
Nope. 4.
Oh,
Okay.
your wits, man.
I will
Yeah.
give Honorine the same roll, but at like a higher difficulty.
Okay. So what am I
Too
rolling?
focused on the task now.
Wits and you can use Scholar is probably the most relevant social knack as far as this woman is concerned.
Okay.
And it's perceptive over persuasive, so appearance doesn't matter.
And how many do I keep?
Number equal to your wits.
Okay. 12.
Okay. I'm going to give it to Honorine purely because Honorine has probably dealt with more than a small amount of jealousy in the Montaigne courts.
Oh no. Oh no.
Does that make sense? And like she recognizes the look of a woman who has a crush and has just seen her crush show up on the arm of a woman she considers much prettier than herself.
Oh, she knows.
Let
that
him
song
go.
and dance. She
What's
knows
that?
She knows that song and dance. Yes. It's very familiar.
This just turned into an episode of Degrassi.
Yeah, she can
And
like
I'm here
almost
for it.
immediately see just a tiny bit of heartbreak.
Honorine she goes from like the very like over the top like good morning, hello, thinking that like the lighting up was for her, and then she sees the shift and she's like, oh. And her smile kind of freezes for a second. And she just sort of shifts gears without like letting go of the arm or anything. She just sort of shifts gears and she's like, well, we're here to ask after a deed.
Of course, that's what the Hall of Records is here for. She says we
Someone
have
tell her that what she thinks is going on isn't going on.
She says there is a fee, she says, for the processing, but we can provide you the details on a deed at that point.
Of course. Yeah.
Perfect. We're looking for something owned by Mr. Gerard Dupé. Would have been purchased within the last time.
She kind of give me a moment. Hans misses it. Honorine catches that there's like a bit of a frog in her throat. Turns away and zips off.
Honorine is watching with a little tiny bit of sadistic glee.
You bitch.
I'm so happy someone else said it.
She totally
Yeah,
has
so
like the mean girl, like
the it takes a little bit before she returns. And there's definitely like even Hans can kind of pick up there's like a different vibe she's like putting on her professionalism and stuff like that. And she hasn't like offered tea and biscuits 10 times.
by the time she comes back, like Honorine has like disentangled herself from Gav, and she's just sort of like kind of pacing around, like she's trying not to look impatient, but she is impatient.
Yeah, it's all told it's probably like 20 minutes of waiting, you know. And she comes back and she says, so I don't have a deed that was purchased, but I do have an agreement between homeowner and Mr. Gerard for a rental basis, subject to the approval of a third party.
Is there any listing of who the third party is?
It was my understanding that the I did not work out this arrangement. It was the homeowner who presented it and would have that information.
I see, just logged as pending a third party.
Basically, Gerard was logged as like the
showing interest.
The lawyer, effectively, like the person like arranging the deal, but not the party to the deal. Does that make sense? And in the interim, the home is rented so that it's not like rented to somebody else. So basically, you have a rental here lying empty.
It's your timeshare.
Perfect. So I don't know if Honorine has developed like a coin purse or anything, or if she's gonna be like, kind of like nudge Hans a little bit and be like, do you mind?
He would have already just kind of on instincts like paid her initially. Yeah.
Yeah,
it's all good.
Perfect.
Thank you. Is there anything else?
And it looks to Honorine. I don't believe so for the moment.
No, there's nothing else.
She says, well, thank you for visiting all the records.
Thank you so much for your help.
Yeah, I'm just sort of like, he's completely oblivious. Like, just doesn't, he's like, I hope you have a wonderful day.
Yeah, and she very much forces a smile on her face, and she's like, you as well.
As they're leaving, he looks to Hans. She seems sad today.
Yeah, it's
I hope she did not have angry customers.
Yeah, indeed, hope not.
It's a mystery.
You bitch.
Boo this woman.
Tomatoes.
Glory is enjoying her turn as not a cinnamon roll. All right. So we're gonna move to. I want to move to the House of Stone, and then that'll kind of wrap you guys for today. So the House of Stone is, I think I've described it a few times. It's one of the few entirely stone buildings. When Honorine and Hans come in, like you're both immediately just sort of like, oh, there's like a whole Scotman vibe here. There are paintings on the wall. There are I don't want to say like effigies, but there's like wood that has been carved and then painted to look like black wood. Does that make sense? And there are like, since the two of you, I'm going to call Scotman aficionados. There are just like a number of small sort of plaques with very short versions of some of the stories of the Scotland Man, like hunting children, stacking limbs up like firewood.
The Gav's just another boogeyman.
So this looks
Was
like
this big a fan?
like this looks like the friend, right? This is the friend, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. So
Kind of looks around.
when she goes in and gets the idea that this is supposed to be like a bad person, she just kind of like looks around and very much has the sense of like, oh, I am in the wrong place.
He was this big a fan.
There's a fair that happens in Fischler Lands and in the South that is sort of like meant to keep the Scotland at bay. Does that make sense? And there's a number of sort of smaller, I want to say artifacts that kind of suggest that the idea of what he's doing here is like the kind of sacrifice that you make, the kind of tribute that you make to like be left alone. Does that make sense? Because that's the idea of like the Shadow Fair, is that we have this big celebration, we burn some wood, we like party late into the night, and then the Scotland man, and we like burn food and whatnot, like as offering, and then he leaves us alone. As long as we like respect his personal space.
Very much a like stay away please festival.
Pretty much. And Hans has heard stories of like villages that have like decided they weren't going to do the fair and just disappeared.
Yeah, that sounds about right, really.
How much is true and how much is, you know, like the growing of legend is hard to say. But the as you were there, you see the innkeeper, Garrett. Gav saw him the night before telling the story. It's a little bit early for him to get started tonight. Does that make sense? So, but like there is the inn starting to fill with people who are guests, and most of them out of town who are here to hear a tale. This is also the same place that you came for, you know, the whole criminal meeting. So this place definitely serves two purposes.
Looks like if we stick around long enough, we may actually get to see one of the stories.
Do you like scary stories?
Yes, actually.
Didn't take you for the time.
So she's going to go up to the bar, the place where the proprietor appears to be. Hello, I'm looking for a man.
Yeah, he gives a very broad smile.
Specific man.
He says, we don't normally arrange that kind of thing. He says, but I know some people.
His name is Gerard Dupé.
So you're looking for one of my guests?
Yes.
He says, well, I've not seen him in a week or two now. Maybe 3.
All right then.
I hope Fancy Man is okay.
Yeah, hope nothing.
His things are still here. He says, but I haven't heard him coming or going. He kind of ponders. You know, like disappearances are like relatively common. He says, is there some relation?
He's my brother.
Give me the wits roll and a persuasion for that.
I mean, she's not trying super hard anyway, but... I don't think I have persuasion, like, skill.
It's there is not a persuasion skill. I'm sorry. What it is it's dependent upon the social skill you're choosing to use. Every single kind of craftsman or sailor or whatnot is also a social skill when dealing with people of that particular ilk. In this case, if you have the criminal knack, You may use it. You may also use the commoner knack.
I was just gonna say I have commoner. Can totally talk commoner language. Sure. I don't know. Okay. And I'm gonna keep my wits.
Yes, you also get to add your appearance because this is a persuasive attempt.
Ooh, I like that.
It's an unkept die, not kept, but every little bit helps.
So I keep my wits though?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. $21.
Okay.
She's not dangerously beautiful, but she is above average appearance.
Yeah, that's actually more broadly applicable. Dangerously beautiful only goes when I'm trying for the when you're trying to like seduce somebody. So whether it's that he buys it or it's just believable enough that he can explain it away, it doesn't end up mattering. He kind of says, all right, I can let you in, he says, but I'm gonna have to keep an eye while you're there.
Of course.
So there's his possessions there. They like some changes of clothes and stuff like that, the kind of things that you expect to be at an inn. What is surprising for somebody who, Honoré might have the theory that he's like run off with the family's money. Does that make sense? The satchel that Jamet gave to him is there. And it is still full of every dollar or every guilder that was given, minus the money to rent the place. What is important about that as well is that this is a blooded object for Jamet. This is an object she can travel to with her porte. And it's also an object she can retrieve at any time with her porte.
Sees the money. He's clearly had some intent to come back. He's not just wouldn't just disappear with no money.
If he was robbing you, he is very bad at it. Usually
Indeed.
thief and money stay in the same place.
It's the bag that is blooded to her, right?
Yes, it also has your family seal on it, which means that you can show your family seal to the innkeeper and be like, yeah, this is mine.
She kind of like lingers on the bag for a second and then kind of shakes it off and is like, see, signet ring, and then she shows the bag, like, they match. And she doesn't show him what's in the bag. I don't know if he knows what's in the bag, but
you're guessing that if this man knew what was in the bag, this bag would be a lot lighter.
that's what I'm thinking.
But she might just be a little biased.
No, Gav has that impression as well.
He totally would have lifted a few if he knew that there was money in there.
She's doing it because she's biased. He's doing it. He's saying it because he knows.
So she's gonna sling the bag over her shoulder, and then kind of. Is there anything else that's like? She's gonna go if there's like a writing desk or anything. Like she's going to go look through his papers.
It looks as though he had written some letters and stuff here, but there's no evidence of what they were. He finished them, he sent them off. So.
Okay. I guess we need to go to this place that he rented.
So we will do that next time because I want to give some time to Rosa and Rona and Len before we close. We're about 45 minutes from that.
You stay homeless till the next session.
No, I'm actually fine with her moving to the home. She's got sort of like an OCD uh, homeowner, but a very nice home. It's very clean. It's just she's very particular about the way things are.
We'll find out about that next time.
Sure thing.
Following
Okay.
behind Gav with a broom.
All right. So we have gotten to you're actually in the merchant's quarter, that area of it. To what degree are you kind of trying to get the correlation of like the area that's underneath what above it? Does that make sense? Because Runa knows it from the sewer level or like the water level.
And
how to get to
she
it.
should also know it from the exit level because she walked out.
That's what I mean. She knows where it came out onto the water. You know what I'm saying? But now there's been a little bit more time and you can kind of try to work out like what is above it.
Yeah.
So the area that Bruna takes Rosa and Len to is like basically a grate that opens out onto the water. There's a small dock there. A riverboat would be able to pull up to this and leave, and so long as it was covered, nobody would ever be able to see their business. It is the ideal way to bring people in and out of the city. And the preferred method of smugglers, which there are plenty of. Given that it's wholly underground, there's almost no possible way to gauge how many guards would be inside or anything like that for Rosa and Len.
That is fine. I would say our cover should
Len.
be. Yes?
Are you able to change into a rat?
No. That is not one of my forms, and probably for the best, given Gav.
See.
Not allowed to eat the rats.
Don't want to be captured and stuck in cage either. Can do. He's just gonna look around, make sure nobody's listening, and he's like, otter, owl,
What
cat,
information are you looking for?
owl, bear. Man.
Give me a wits and keen senses to see if anybody's overlooking.
Oh, okay, can do that.
All of us, or?
Well, Len's the one who's preparing to do stuff. If he wants to enroll your help to make sure that he's covered, I will let each of you give him a raise.
Yeah.
$25.
Okay. Plus 2 raises. So yeah, there's like one kid that's like watching with some interest, but Rosa is able to distract.
So he lists out the kids and he's like, here's shapes, and he's like, we should possibly, daytime maybe is not the best time to go in, but when we do go in, we should go in under the cover of being purchasing agents for someone who does not wish to be seen in such environs. But for now, maybe they say daytime may be best because it is a nice time operation, but this is the time they would be most on guard for somebody trying to sneak in.
I would assume that to be correct.
Okay. So do you?
Runa can see the guard that is outside, and she remembers the very, very simple creature that was assigned to protect her and keep her fed. Like she remembers that he was like touched. He was like not smart at all and treated like a child by almost everybody around him. But he's huge.
He's their
Runa.
Gav.
No, Gav is smart compared to him.
I was just gonna say they found a Gav.
Runa kind of turns her face away. Because she doesn't want to get recognized either.
Yeah. Possibly we should.
And she explains the information she remembers. Because that's likely helpful.
The only thing I could think of that we could do during the day is ask to look over the merchandise before the auction try to get a sneak peek at what they have offered, but to be honest, I'm not sure I could see those poor souls and not try to kill everyone involved right then and there.
Yes.
If we really need to, I could do it. But I think in Eisen they say I will be rather pissed after.
I can control myself. I hate this and want to just kill this man right now. I'm sure we all do.
I mean,
Honestly,
yeah.
I think best bet is for me to come back tonight as Cat and observe the goings on and such. A cat in the sewers is not a thing that is terribly strange. Would be nice to have you both nearby just in case, and as extra eyes to see who comes and goes when I go in. But we also need to check on your blacksmith teacher. I hesitate to call him master, even if that may be what he is. And also want to observe more on the compound, the house, and such that the traitor is in. There is much to do.
If I can see the woman you had described, maybe I can see more about her.
We can try now that I know the balcony they might be on. Another night, I can try to lure out child and woman, and if you can have vantage to see her, you can use your card powers. Do you have to blow her case for this to work? I'm not sure
No.
how you're. Oh,
I
Uh,
get the sense that kissing gives her bad luck. I mean, she said she shouldn't be too close. So
no,
maybe
I
no
only
kissing if you want to do this.
I only kiss to give luck.
oh, okay.
My other abilities, I can be away as long as I can see the person.
Okay, so we need to set that up. Um, this is important, but Runa, you have much going on. What would you like to prioritize?
Feel it would be selfish for me to choose.
Friend Runa, and he's gonna put a big old man paw on her shoulder. As long as she doesn't, like the moment she's like, "Don't touch me" or whatever, you can take it back.
She
But
wouldn't.
otherwise, okay,
She's a big hugger.
okay. They're just gonna put a big hand on her shoulder and be like, "Friend Runa, this is a time when it is okay to be a little selfish. The man you have been learning from and has been sheltering you knows your betrayer. Your betrayer is in the city and might have your aunt and cousin, or cousin and cousin's daughter. Um, the thing with this
Or
slaver is terrible, and we will kill him too.
see,
But
or I do not know if the Duchy family like your family, but could it have been that you were sold out by this woman?
Well, we were sold out by Joran.
Could she not be involved?
That's a question that I have no idea how to answer.
I would hazard the air on the side of she was taken when she was 9 and not seen again by the village. So I do not know how much her knowledge would have been useful in selling out. Is good to keep just in case, so she does not knife him back. But in case of discovered family, would rather hope for the best on this one, as they say. I
I am torn between you looking in on Mac and figuring out if this individual is my cousin.
One will be
I-
easier than the other.
I can see if they are your family, if I can see both of you.
So tonight, do we want to do that, or do we want to take care of blacksmith and
Well,
do
if-
that next night?
If he's there. Wouldn't it be like killing two birds with one stone?
Well, we cannot look at, well, possibly. It depends on where he is in building. If he goes inside on first or second floor, there's not much that I can see easily as Owl. Possibly as Cat, but Cat is far more noticeable in a armed and walled compound, even here in Eisen. Snow
Yeah.
Leopard, very noticeable.
I have to
Well-
be able to see.
I'd say let's go with the one that will be a bit easier, and maybe we can catch a pattern in the if he comes every night or not.
Well, my thought would be we wait for him to leave his forge and then sneak into his home and look for letters, notes, anything that would say distinctly that he is aware and he is possibly taking orders to keep you under observation or anything.
That works too.
He's just gonna actually pause there for a moment and scratch his head and just be like, you know, for a failed experiment, I'm actually pretty good at this. I feel like.
You are not the experiment. You are very intelligent, Len.
Yeah.
I failed enough that they were willing to throw my life away to try to cut the head off this snake that was invading our country.
Fuck him.
This is a fair observation.
So what is the plan?
I think we're gonna stake out the forge as best we can, wait to see if he leaves. If it doesn't seem like he's gonna leave, maybe we go to the compound instead. If he's gonna have a night in, and we'll see about doing the. Is there a thread?
Let's go ahead. I'm gonna have one person make a stealth roll kind of for the group. There, multiple people doing stealth doesn't really grant raises.
What do we what
What do we have to roll for raid for stealth? Yeah.
Stealth. In this particular stance or instance, it's a finesse roll because you're not just sort of like blending
never
in with the
mind.
crowd. It's gonna have to require some coordination, and criminal allows you to stealth, hunter allows you to stealth.
So possibly me. I would have 5 there, 3 finesse, 2 in naturalist.
You have the best finesse out of both.
Yeah,
of the
that
three
sounds
of
the
us, I believe.
best.
Because I have a 2 in finesse and
2
nothing
in
that
finesse.
helps.
Okay.
I also
And
think
criminal.
that you have the advantage that Mac has never met you.
Mac has never met me. That's fair as well. So yeah.
Okay.
He'll, all right. So that's. $31.
Okay.
Dun,
Um,
dun, 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 dun.
So I'm gonna give you a little bit of like tailing him and stuff like that. You do kind of quickly get the impression he's like shutting down for the night. You see the guards that are here are just sort of like guards for the merchant quarter, but they're not part of the city guard. They're just well-paid local guards who are kind of more loyal to the Vendel than to the city as a whole, right?
That's fair.
Mac himself is an Avalonian. He's from the Highlands Marches. But he pays to the guards to kind of like stick close to his shop, sets off late enough in the evening that he's definitely intending to use the evening as part of his cover, right? And as you kind of see him, he doesn't head to Jor's place. He heads to the river. there's every single part of the rivers that are along this area have like shops next to them and stuff like that. Having the experience of kind of having just seen a couple like smuggling ports and stuff like that, what you see is that he is like waiting outside for a time. It looks like the building is occupied, and the you have seen or you've only had Jord described to you. You have never actually seen him before this moment. He comes out of the building.
Do I see him? Because we're together, I think.
Yeah. You can see that there are probably two other guys that are with him as some sort of like armed escort. Does that make sense? But he's got a cloak. He's also shaved. You saw him before in the vision, so it's not, but it's very strange just to see, as having always known him as Vesta, and every time you see him shaved, it's like
Runa instinctively like clutches at the inscribed dagger, but holds herself back because there are two armed people, but like this would be an opportune time. And goes, that's him.
okay. Rosa, you're seeing two people in connection, which means that if there is a strand between them, you can see what it is.
What is it?
Yeah, she. All right. Yep, I'll roll it.
Okay.
I forgot how to do this again. So it's wits plus Arcana.
No,
Wits?
Arcana is if you wanted to see their
Oh, the
Arcana,
cards.
although that is reasonable as well. You can ask that of them. And but it's the way I'm going to do it is I'm going to just have you do a quick roll for each of the threads, since there's no cost to like activate this. You're just looking.
Okay.
And the target number is
63.
15. Yeah, the target number is 15 on all of them. I think you have the same for all of them now. So
Yeah, one
we'll just go from
top to bottom.
coins, cups. Yeah.
Okay, coins 24.
Okay.
Cups is 32.
Okay.
Staves is 21. Swords is 25.
Damn.
If there is a thread between all of them, you've gotten it. Okay. There is a relationship of coins. They are in a mercantile agreement together. There's also a relationship of swords. There is some sort of conflict between them. It's possible to have all four strands with a single person.
Yeah.
The coins outweighs the swords.
Mm.
Is this
Uh,
between him and Mac or him and Runa?
Him and Mac.
So
Oh, you actually got all four. So you're capable of seeing Runa and Jor. Jor's relationship to Runa is swords.
okay.
Which is conflict?
Yep.
Yeah, it's conflict.
Yeah.
They work for him, but they do not like him.
It's not quite possible to tell who works for who.
Okay,
but
so somebody works for somebody, and they are very upset with each other.
I'll also give you Arcana rolls if you want to know their Arcanas, because that's often included personality.
Sure.
Also, with Len's stealth roll, if you would like, I will let you make another roll to get close enough to
37
hear
for
them
Arcana.
talk. Okay, awesome.
Yep.
I'll give you both of those with that.
I got
then, yeah,
two
we wanna-
exploding dice on that time.
Nice.
Defo want to eavesdrop.
Was it two distinct dice or one that? Oh, never mind. You weren't doing it. I think it doesn't matter how many exploding dice you go. You're just looking.
I love that I got an 18 and a 12.
Yep.
Okay. You got a what on your
32
right?
or 37 actually.
Yeah, Len, do you want to try to sneak closer to over here?
Yes.
That's going to be a separate roll, but I'm giving you the option because of your 31.
Okay.
So. Um,
19.
okay. Let's see.
I'm gonna burn a quack to attend to that. You don't mind, do you?
I think that's the wrong.
You're going to burn a what?
Said I'm gonna burn a quack to attend to that. That's from our
Oh.
King's
A
Pirate
drama
game.
die.
Yeah.
Add a drama die
Alright.
to it.
No, that's going to be close enough to over here.
Okay.
Okay. Max Arcana is an upright Hierophant.
What? Wait, Max is a Hierophant?
Max is a Hierophant.
Samesies.
That's kind of why when Rosa see that, you'll see her like kind of snap back.
Reality. Oh, there goes gravity. Oh, there goes. Sorry.
And
Mood.
the Jor is the moon, upright as well.
Okay.
So Jor is focused on he's standing kind of near the entrance of the building. And he, as like Mac comes closer, Mac throws him a bag of, you can hear the coins jingle as he catches it. And Jor just sort of makes a motion to the door, and you see like the two guards go in, and then they start pushing a cart out that is clearly heavy. And when I say heavy, I mean like the wheels are straining. Does that make sense? You can see that like the major bar running between the two has a very slight bend to it. Which most of the carts that you've seen here in Eisen, you could put a body in and it wouldn't do it.
Are we talking like a little wheelbarrow, a little hand cart? Or are we talking?
Yeah, it's like a wheelbarrow style. It's like a square box with two wheels and the handles. The central axle is what bends slightly under the weight of whatever is in the cart itself. The cart is large enough to put a body in, or two if you squished, but the weight of it is clearly quite a bit. And what you overhear George say is, I don't understand why you're paying so much to import this. You could get the exact same thing around here for a tenth the price. And Mac says, if I wanted the input, if I wanted the input of a spineless Vendel merchant on my blacksmithing, I'd ask for it. He says, take your coin. And Jor kind of like smiles. There's like a hand that like wraps tight around like the weapon at his side. He says, I'd have a care who you call spineless. And you see Mac like steps closer, like nose to nose with him, and he's like several inches taller. Um, uh, and he says, "I take your coins." Um, the abruptly, like the two guards that are with Jor are kind of like tense. You don't see a weapon on Mac. Does that make sense? He's not carrying, like he has a claymore in his shop, but he's not carrying it. And Jor just kind of like smiles. He says, "That's the Vendel name. Why would I throw away money?" And he takes a step back. But it doesn't really require an effort to see that when Mac turns away, Jor is fuming.
If Runa could be on fire right now, she would be.
Like powering up for lightning strike.
Yeah, like her hand is still clasped tight around the blade. She just knows it's not the time.
And like George just kind of like grips the sword, and then he takes a step after Mac. And he says, "You said we were going to work together." And Mac turns and he says, "I said you'd have the chance, and I said you'd have to earn it." And George just kind of like he grips the sword again. He is clearly like conflicted. Like Rosa has seen people sort of like fighting between the two different strands that they have. This is exactly what's happening. Is like both of them are in flux at the moment. And for a moment, you have like a perfect clarity to see that like every bit of the relationship that is coins is from Jor's side. Does that make sense? Mac has nothing but swords for the man.
Oh, there's a temptation there to mess with it somehow to make the swords worse.
Boop.
She's never done it before, but she knows she has the option. She's never really tried it.
Yeah, that's the point. She's like, the
Ooh,
temptation's there. The temptation's there.
Oops, did I start a fight to the death?
Yeah, it's this.
I too wish it was the time.
What's she doing?
Sorry.
But it's not like, it's not a great time to start it. Like,
Runa
he
might.
knows.
She is white knuckling this blade.
Well,
Len's going to gently put a massive hand on over Runa's hand. Not even holding the blade, just kind of a wordless, "It's not the time."
She looks at you and it gives you the idea that she's saying, I know.
so
But she's seething and also grieving because she misses her family.
Yeah.
So if I were to mess with the strands,
Mm-hmm.
would my 2 curse die because it's swords come into effect?
So those do not take effect while you are working sorte. They only take effect when you're doing things outside of sorte.
Okay.
So if
Glenn
you're trying
can't
to
stop
amplify the
me.
swords,
How
I
do I
smell
do
sorcery.
this?
It's 3 against 1.
Well, it's 3 against 3 against 1. There's 2 guards with Jor against Mac, but they don't know that we 3 are, well, 2 fighters and a little shit stirrer are here behind them watching.
You're muted.
And then Batman behind all them watching everybody. And it's just
He just goes, I'm Batman.
so what is she doing?
Daredevil's like,
roll
what are we
this?
looking at?
How do I roll to, for the first time ever, mess with the swords?
So Mechanics.
Because I've been reading that journal, I've been getting information. I'm ready to use some of it.
First, give me just a resolve roll.
What's my result? 3, keep 3, okay. 34.
Oh, what was that noise?
You hear the Queen's voice in your ear. And like you can almost sort of feel like a coldness running through your arm. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
And she says, they call it tugging, cutting, pulling. It's not that. It never was. It's always been music. Rise and fall, climax, tempo. She says, let me.
Okay. She's
She
gonna let
says,
her.
watch. And you feel, I'm gonna have you go ahead and make a resolve roll with your swords. You're going to get a plus 25 to this roll. You may get a raise for everything over the target number that you call to change the value that you're changing it. Like it's going to go up a stage for every raise that you make. Does that make sense? The base target number to hit for
You're gonna have to tell me what to roll because now you
it's
kind of lost
resolve
me.
plus swords, and your not stretching,
6.
tugging. Okay, so it's a target number of 10 for each point you wish to alter the strand's strength up or down. So she's just giving you a plus 25, which means that if you get a 5, you can change it 3 degrees on a scale of 1 to 10. 3
Okay.
will more than double the current coin strength.
Sword strength.
No, it will double the coin strength if you do it by a margin of 3. So his sword
Okay.
strand will go from being fairly close to a doubled relationship of conflict. Does that make sense?
Okay. That might just be enough. I'm gonna do it.
Okay. You only need to get a 5 on a resolve and swords roll to do that.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
21.
Okay.
Whoa.
You could have gotten an additional 1 out of that, but it's your first real time doing it, and it's like the sense of kind of like almost closing your eyes and listening to music and like watching the way the strands kind of like curve as the cold runs through your arm. For a moment you think you see a spider kind of across the strands. Does that make sense? And the like tips of its legs drawing it like tar and thickening it with each step as it runs between Jor and the blacksmith. And George just sort of suddenly, like he shouts, he says, "You call me a coward? I know you're hiding here." He says, "And I know why." And he yanks the cloth off of the cart. And what you see within is iron ore. And he says, "You don't think I know why you have this imported all the way from the Highlands Marches? I'm not an idiot and I'm not a coward, but you are." And like there's the shink as the blade is drawn. And then the 2 men to either side of Jor drop dead. And you see Mac's hand go back, and you see there's like a glove on it, and a knife just sort of materializes in his hand. Those of you
Guys,
who have
it might be
seen
the time.
Gav's hand, those of you who've seen Gav's hand recognize that Mac is wearing a Sin Earth artifact. Does that make sense? And that the artifact like created knives that you can see, like there's a blossom of blood from the 2 guards from where the knife had just gone into their throat, but it was instantly back in his hand.
Whoa.
Yeah, there's a moment where after Rosa does it, she kind of grabs Len and Runa
Like let
to
it
get
play
them to
out.
stop. Yes.
Yeah, because at the moment the guards drop, Len is about to just like force spear.
Runa has
and-
unsheathed the blade.
No, it is immediately let it go. Let it go.
But big
Observes it.
monster.
I'll explain later.
Yeah, you see the blade comes out and you see Jor swing. And there's just sort of like a lean and like a flowing motion. Like the assumption is that blacksmiths are huge, and in actuality, they're usually very wiry because most of their hammers aren't particularly heavy, but they're swinging them thousands of times.
Yep, and if
to
they're
do
doing
what they do.
farrier work, you have to get under a horse, and a big dude's not doing that so good.
So you see Mac lean, and as Jor like oversteps, Mac hand closes around his neck, and you see that knife appear in his hand and just open his throat. It's probably the coldest you've ever seen somebody commit a murder, in the sense that like there's just no expression on Mac's face. Does that make sense? Rosa Zabadachi is like, whoa.
Oh,
Rosa, let me go. He needs this blade.
Dead.
Yeah,
She
like
shows
Jor
the rune
is-
on it. Dead but not yet doomed to hell.
Out of
Runa
the
will-
way, Mac. I need to stab this guy.
He's not dead yet. I need to kill him before he dies.
Runa will let her go then. Or Rosa will let her go.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But keeps hold
Kill
of Len.
steal, kill steal.
Yeah, like so you
I've
watched
planned the
Mac
way
step
I want
back.
to do this.
Yeah, you watch Max step back and you realize he's watching Jor die. He could end him faster, but he knows Jor can't cry out at the moment. And so he's letting him bleed to death in the street.
She walks out. Mac, this is a side you'll never see of me again. And she wants Jor to see her as she jabs the knife into his diaphragm and pushes up
Um,
and watches him die.
So for those who are sensitive to descriptions of death,
So sorry.
you may want to cover your ears for a moment.
Yo,
this
dog,
gets
I'm
content
sorry.
warning.
Give it the
Um,
old
As
"Scooga,
this
scooga."
party goes dark.
It does go surprisingly dark.
So
I
the
forget content
the combination
stuff.
of the open throat, which has cut his ability to like breathe, and the blade into the diaphragm, which is also pushing blood out, creates sort of like a bubbling around the blood at his neck. Does that
And
make
she
sense?
stares him dead in the eyes.
And he, Syndra, turns up the volume. There's shock, disbelief, confusion. Then as you see him, he kind of like tries to kick, he tries to go for the blade. You see Max just move
steps
the
on
foot and yeah, Max like stepping on it. And you Len and Rosa, who have not been seen, they see there seems to be like a moment of like indecision for Mac. You can see he has the knife behind his back, like not sure if Runa saw it or not. And he's worrying, and then the knife just seems to disappear.
Rosa will lean into Len.
I'm also giving Runa a drama die for that moment. So
Oh yeah. I did that.
And he's just gonna give her a little hug around the shoulders. Good job.
And you hear a voice in your ear from the queen. She says it was well done.
And quietly enough, grazie madre.
And just one more thing right before I see the light leave his eyes, there's a small grin from Runa.
So to close out, I am going to give an extra drama die for this purpose. You hear Mac, his March's accent is quiet but very distinct. Like most of the time, you kind of heard him like with almost an Eisen accent. Like he's so well assimilated, you know. He says nothing personal, lass. You see him like he just and there's like a clock across the back of Runa's head. I am spending drama die to render her unconscious. Does that make sense? And he picks Runa up and puts her on top of the cart, on top of all of the iron, and then covers it and starts to move it.
Suddenly, Bear.
Comrades.
Oh, you just you did not just take my bestie.
You done fucked
And that's where we're
up.
gonna call a curtain for tonight.
Runa, or sorry, Rosa holds everyone back. 5 seconds later, let me am.
Len, get him!
Ring, I choose Len.
Oh no, the temptation is to kiss Len again and just send him off to go kill the guy.
Again, Ring, I choose Len.
Yeah. Ren, use Rage Boner! Well, wait,
What?
All right, so I'm giving Runa a drama die already for the moment of the kill. All right.
yeah, that's well deserved.
I want the chance to nominate somebody else for the other one. I know we're all in Rage Boner for the moment, but
I was gonna
A
put
drama
one.
die or an extra experience?
it's a drama die which will become an extra experience at the end.
Cool.
So if you had wanted to use it at the moment to do something, it would have been fine with it. But
I actually want to nominate Honorine for the petty girl.
I was gonna
petty,
say Rosa.
petty
For
mean
her
girl
amazing
antics.
Frenchness.
I'm too angry about it.
I was gonna say
Yep.
Rosa because she got to use her power for the first time and everything.
That is pretty cool.
That was so
That's a,
sick.
that's a pretty
Yeah.
big. That's a pretty
It was
big
pretty
deal.
sick.
I support both of them, really. I was not expecting the mean girl. Oh, you like this big lump? Aw. I'm not going to disabuse you of the notion that he's mine.
It's her own fault for thinking she would be with somebody like Gav.
Damn.
You
Hey,
bitch.
Gav's the same. Wait till you hear Gav's explanation for that when he actually does get to talk to her. By the way, I've forgotten her name.
Same. I just know her as the short
It's
librarian.
Helena, something like that. It should be important. Something I should write down.
I did have it written down. I have it real quick.
Lore master.
Bruno already
lore
has a big
mistress,
scar on her head.
Lore keeper, help!
Hanalor.
Yes, help.
Hannelore, thank you.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I'll put it into the group notes.
It was like, name is too close to mine, must suffer.
We'll start with an H.
It makes no. I get Puff the Magic Dragon stuck in my head every time you say her name.
Hanalor?
Land of Hanali. Hannelore in this case.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to watching. I know we had quite a few people dropping in throughout, and it's very much appreciated.
Yep.
So we are well into 2025 and all the madness that's coming with it. There was a discussion earlier about how on Dirty 20, and I said something there that I want to say again because I think it's important to keep in mind that, like, if you are living in a crazy time, it does not mean that you are crazy for thinking it is. Like, remember that. Remember that, like, the circumstances are exceptional. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, and don't let anybody tell you that you're wrong for feeling that way. So the mantra, the motto, the battle cry for Dirty 20 has always, however you choose to have it, has always been to be nice to one another. And please keep that with you going forward into the next week. And we'll see you again next Sunday. Thank you guys.
Bye.
Bye,
Bye.
y'all.
Good night.